Most workplaces think they know how to keep employees happy, but the science tells a different story. In fact, some of the most common workplace perks, like free coffee, casual Fridays, or even pay rises, might not be making employees any happier at all. So if those things don't work, what does? Well, researchers found that workplace happiness actually comes down to three main things. And today, we're breaking them down one by one. Imagine trying to watch your favorite TV show, but someone else is holding the remote, deciding what you watch, when you watch it, and even when to pause. Frustrating, right? Now think about your job. If someone else is constantly deciding how you do your work, it feels the same. This is where autonomy comes in. Autonomy at work means having the freedom to make decisions about your tasks and how you accomplish them. Research shows that when employees have higher autonomy, they have greater job satisfaction and well-being. According to self-determination theory, autonomy is a fundamental psychological need that, when satisfied, enhances motivation and engagement. So we know autonomy is one of the keys to workplace happiness, but how do we create it? Here are 5 practical ways companies can give their employees more control without losing productivity. First, delegate decision-making. Instead of micromanaging, let employees decide how they complete their work. When people feel trusted, they perform better. Simple. Second, offer flexible schedules where possible. People aren't robots. Giving employees control over when they work improves productivity and well-being. Third, encourage skill growth. Want engaged employees? Give them opportunities to develop. Training, courses, workshops, whatever helps them feel control of their future. And at Loving Life, we deliver a range of workshops that can help with this. But fourth, set clear goals, not strict rules. Tell employees what needs to be done, but let them decide how they do it. It's about having freedom within a framework. And finally, build a culture of trust. Recognize contributions, encourage feedback, and let employees take ownership. A micromanaged team is often an unhappy team. This balloon represents an employee full of ideas, creativity, and valuable input. But what happens when they don't feel safe speaking up? In many workplaces, employees are hesitant to share their thoughts because they feel fear of criticism, embarrassment, or even punishment. If employees think their ideas will be popped as soon as they speak up, they'll stay silent. And this is what we call psychological safety. The belief that you can take risks, ask questions, or share ideas without fear of backlash. Google's Project Aristotle studied 180 high-performing teams and found that psychological safety was the #1 factor that made teams successful. And Gallup found that environments of which the majority of employees felt psychologically comfortable enjoyed a 27% reduction in turnover. When people don't feel safe, they disengage, they withhold ideas, avoid feedback, and stop contributing. This can lead to poor team performance and unhappy teams. So how do you create a work environment where people feel safe to speak up? Here are 3 simple ways to build psychological safety at work. First, encourage open conversation. Create a culture where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts without fear of judgment. Leaders should ask for feedback and make sure ideas, big or small, are welcomed. Secondly, reward, don't punish contributions. Instead of shutting down ideas, acknowledge and appreciate contributions. Research shows that employees who feel heard are 4.6 times more likely to be engaged. And third, lead by example. Leaders need to model vulnerability. If managers admit mistakes and ask for input, employees feel safer doing the same. It starts from the top down. When workplaces prioritize psychological safety, employees feel more engaged, more creative, and more willing to contribute. And that's why at Love in Life, we deliver a range of wellbeing workshops that help companies create a culture of trust, communication, and psychological safety. And this allows employees to contribute their best ideas. And if your workplace wants free resources to support the well-being and psychological safety of its employees, join the free mailing list. The link's in the description box. But there's one more key factor we haven't talked about yet. And without it, even autonomy and psychological safety might not be enough. Look at this single piece of puzzle. Yeah, I know, it's a child's puzzle. But alone, it might not seem like much. But when it connects with other pieces, it becomes part of something much bigger. That's exactly how employees feel when they understand their work contributes to a greater purpose. Without that connection, their work can feel meaningless. Research shows that employees who see their work as meaningful are 1.15 times more likely to feel happy at work. When employees lack purpose, they disengage. They do the bare minimum, feel uninspired, and eventually they leave. This article states that purpose-driven companies tend to experience a 40% higher levels of workforce retention than other organizations. And according to psychologist Dr. Martin Seligman, the creator of the PERMA model, which is a well-being framework, he identifies meaning as one of the core 5 elements of well-being. According to Seligman, having a sense of purpose is essential for achieving long-term happiness in both work and personal life. So how can companies help employees find meaning and purpose in their work? Here are 3 strategies. Firstly, show employees the bigger picture. Regularly communicate how individual roles contribute to the company's mission. When employees see the impact of their work, it builds a sense of purpose. Secondly, recognize and celebrate contributions. Acknowledge and appreciate efforts. Recognition leads to increased motivation and a sense of pride, which enhances engagement. A recent report shows that 84% of highly engaged employees were recognized the last time they went above and beyond in their job role, compared to 25% of actively disengaged employees. And this also means that out of all the disengaged employees, only 25% were recognized for their work. So if these disengaged employees were recognized, perhaps they would be more engaged. But thirdly, encourage personal and professional growth. Provide opportunities for skill development and career advancement. When employees feel they are growing, their work becomes more meaningful. By implementing these strategies, companies can create an environment where employees feel valued and purposeful, leading to higher engaged and more satisfied and happier employees. Now, I know creating a culture of happy employees is not easy, but this video here will show you how this man created one of the happiest workforces in the UK. But remember, a happy workforce is a productive workforce.